What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Tap. My name is Michael, and this is John. John, how are you doing today?
If you're watching on YouTube, you know it's one of those high school stress days. Obviously, it's been a rough fantasy football weekend for me. I'm getting a stress pimple right here on my forehead, and if you guys would gladly not comment on it,
Oh, I'm
we'd
going
be
to
best
comment
friends
on it all day. Yeah, I'm going to comment on it all
all day.
day. Yeah, I mean, you listen, we're in a Zoom meeting and you almost poked me in the eye with that thing. The thing's huge.
Oh,
Um,
oh man, do
yeah,
comedy, not fantasy
so
football.
oh man. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into our to tilt or not to tilt episode. What we are going to do is go through a list of players who underperformed this week, and we're going to talk about whether we're tilting or not tilting on each player. If you don't know what tilting means, that means if we're getting nervous on them, if we're regretful for drafting them or having them on our team, pretty much is the tilting definition. But before we jump in,
If you're getting ready to throw a table because of them,
yes,
you're tilting on them.
yes,
If you're cutting them, if you're thinking about cutting them from your roster, you're tilting.
yes,
And some of these guys, it's time.
it's time. It's time.
On
I
some
wouldn't
of them,
say.
yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll get to that. But before we do, guys, make sure you like this video. Please subscribe as well. We would truly, truly appreciate it. And then if you are listening to us via the audio form of the podcast, if you could please leave us a review, 5-star rating, that would be great. Also, don't forget to join our Discord. The link is in the description. So without further ado, let's not keep the people waiting. Let's jump into it. Josh Allen, John. Are you to tilt or not to tilt? Are you tilting or not tilting? Let me know.
All right, he's extremely getting a lot of bad media right now because he didn't have one of the most spectacular days that we're used to. I am not tilting. He's going against that Pittsburgh defense this week, and he was getting rushed like crazy, which is what Pittsburgh's defense does. I think he'll be able to get his composure, especially going against Miami this week, and we'll see a good Josh Allen.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely had a lot of pressure coming in on, especially from T.J. Watt, getting that big contract, getting those strip sacks. He did have 2 fumbles, lost one of them, but threw the ball over 50 times. And typically, when he does that, it's a really good fantasy day. But I am on the same boat. I am not tilting yet. I do think he has a tough matchup this week, but still should be able to bounce back from it and finish as a solid quarterback one this week. Honestly, with Josh Allen, I wouldn't start tilting until we see him play Kansas City, because he's got a nice couple of games after Miami. He's got Washington, he's got Houston. So he should be a solid QB1 going forward. Now, next guy, Justin Herbert, obviously rookie of the year last year, finishes a quarterback 26 this week. John, let me know. Tilt or not to tilt? Am I tilting yet?
No, this is again another do not tilt. He had 2 turnovers this week, but again, going against an amazingly stout defense, very, very strong off defensive line, and getting pressured a lot. Still looked decent. This is a stat line that doesn't reflect how decent and solid he actually looked this week. It was just a matter of the game just not being a big game. Still throwing for 337 yards, which is huge. Just wasn't able to find the end zone in the air.
Yeah, no, I agree. I am not tilting on him either. I think he's a good, a low end quarterback one going forward, low to mid. Obviously with the high end upside. One stat that it blew my mind. Austin Eckler didn't get 1 passing target in this game, which is crazy. So I think once he starts utilizing Austin Eckler, I mean, like I said, I'm not tilting. I think he'll be fine. And obviously Keenan Allen, Mike Williams there. He's going to be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so.
So let's get over to our next contestant. And that is Ryan Tannehill. Finishes the quarterback 25. That whole offense was out of sync.
That whole offense was getting trashed.
Yeah.
They didn't look amazing.
5 Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones going off early in the first quarter, which put them in a really bad position later into the game, where you would have expected Tannehill to have to open up the field and open up his arm, but we didn't really see it. 3 turnovers on a day. It's not looking great. Literally no one on that team did amazing.
Yeah.
We'll get to it a little bit later, but even Derrick Henry looked like someone that's didn't have a great day, and he's someone that's supposed to be able to run through any defense.
Yeah.
I'm not tilting on Tannehill yet, but I'm not playing him anymore.
You're not tilting on him, but
I'm not tilting.
Slight. So that's a slight.
But
there's
a slight tilt. There's a turn. We're lifting the table.
Yeah,
I am following through with the throw.
Yeah. I am actually going to tilt on this one. I am worried for this whole entire offense, to be honest. I know he should be okay, but he's got a tough couple games coming in now. He plays Seattle next week, and it should turn into a shootout. By my calculations. So if he doesn't bounce back this week, I'm in full tilt mode. However, he does have two nice games after the week 3. But I am tilting not just because it's Ryan Tannehill, but because of the offense. Now, like you said, I'm not dropping him or taking any drastic measures like that, but I think if I have a better option, I will be starting him. But if he's my only quarterback, I'm going to start him.
Yeah. You're stuck in a place with him.
Now, 3 that really lit up the table, not as in the Twitter sphere, I guess, really. The big 3 of the Green Bay Packers. We've got Aaron Rodgers finishing as quarterback 35, solid. Aaron Jones, running back 52, and Davante Adams, wide receiver 58. John, are you tilting on the big 3?
Not at all. Do not tilt on the Green Bay Packers. Bad games happen. And when the offense isn't able to get in sync at all, you can't expect much coming from the running back or the receiver on that team. I'm still playing them every week nearly. I mean, Aaron Jones is still a must start for me. Davante Adams still a must start for me. Aaron Rodgers, more than likely the only quarterback you drafted if you drafted him. So you're probably still playing him. I'm not looking to stream at this point. But I'm not taking shots on any other names in that roster at all right now until I see a little bit more going on.
I am not tilting on these guys either. So you got to remember Aaron Rodgers came back just like a month ago to training camp or so, maybe a month and a half, if that, and 2 back to the team. So he's rusty, and we saw it. So I'm still keeping the faith. I think that, they've got a nice bounce back game this week against Detroit. We should see solid production from the big 3. And moving forward, they have a couple tough games, but this should be a nice bounce back week for them. I am not tilting on those guys. He's somebody who, and I don't know if it's because it was the first game of the year or if it's because people actually feel this way. Ezekiel Elliott. I feel like a lot of people are tilting on this man. John, are you one of them?
I'm on the fence. I mean, as far as tilting to where you're dropping him or tilting to where you're not playing him, no. But am I worried for him? Yeah, absolutely. His total snap percentage this week was absolutely abysmal. Only got 12 or 13 total opportunities against Tampa Bay when they were in a shootout. And Zeke is someone that you're, being such a weapon, expected to be utilized in shootouts in big games like that. I do think that it was just a situation where that offensive line just wasn't able to keep up with that defense. Zeke wasn't looking productive, and they were just looking to find different ways to move the ball in the offense. But coming up against the Chargers this week, I think it's going to be a completely different situation. That defensive line isn't as packed as Tampa Bay. Not many are. And then he follows up with Philly and Carolina. So we have a really solid stretch coming from him. And I think that's what we can expect.
Yeah, so I am not tilting whatsoever. They threw the ball 58 times. They only ran the ball 14 times. It was a shootout, but they clearly abandoned the run pretty early. At the beginning of the second half, they tried to get the run game going again. It might have even been in the beginning of the fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken, but it was too little too late from McCarthy. I think that Zeke was used a ton on pass protection, like you said, because of that offensive line not having the best day against that strong defensive line. So I'm not tilting whatsoever. I still think Zeke has a top 5 finish this year. And I do like his upcoming matchups. I don't think they rely so heavily on the pass. and Zeke will get his touches. So
Does
somebody who
does Tony Pollard scare you at all? The fact that he was targeted 4 times, 4 catches, which is twice what Zeke got, and
not
was
at
on the
all.
field nearly as much as Zeke this week?
No, not at all. Like I said, I think that Zeke's clearly the number one there. And he only got 3. Pollard only got 3 carries. They were using him, out of the slot out of the slot a little bit and screen passes and stuff like that. So I'm not worried at all really about Tony Pollard. But he's a good handcuff to have. Somebody who has played 100% of their snaps, that is Najee Harris, the Pittsburgh Steelers running back, had 16 carries, 3 targets. He had a yards per carry of 2.8 yards. John, let me know.
Not tilting. Not at all. Not happy. Not tilting. No. Another situation where there's really a very talented guy there. He saw 100% of the snap share, meaning that he's going to continue to be a part of that offense. This week, it was Buffalo. It was an extremely slow game until about the third quarter. And up until that point, we weren't seeing anyone on either team looking very good. The ball wasn't moving on the ground for anyone but Buffalo this week. I think that he's going to be fine moving forward. Buffalo's defense is strong. Great team. Las Vegas just beat the Baltimore Ravens yesterday, but Tyson Williams was still looking like a baller, and I think that can be a good opportunity for Najee to turn it around and prove people wrong. But for 100% of the snaps and only getting 17 or 19 total opportunities looks a little scary.
Yeah, but I am tilting. I came into the year tilting though on Najee. I'm not even gonna lie, because of that offensive line, and we saw it. It's not Najee's fault. It's not Najee's fault whatsoever. That offensive line, he's getting hit in the backfield almost every play. He broke a couple, I think 1 or 2 like decent sized chunks. Outside of that, it was pretty rough for him. I'm tilting not because of Najee talent. I said this in the draft season, but because of that offensive line. Until they can get it together, Najee is not. I mean, if you drafted him, you're playing him. He's your running back 1, running back 2. But I am. I'm not happy if I have him. I do think that the offensive line can get it together, though. I mean, the more games they play and things like that. So, but right now, yes, I am tilting on Najee. Another team that looked entirely just disgusting. The Giants, Saquon Barkley, running back 51. John, I know you didn't like him coming in to the season. Neither of us did. Where he's going. What are you doing? You're tilting?
I'm not tilting because I'm already fully tilted, fully aware of what was going to happen here. Obviously, we recommended you didn't start him this week, regardless of the fact that he was playing. Not even the fact that I'm not a huge fan of him this year, but just because we knew coming into it, he was going to be limited as far as his total snap share and what they were going to use him for. But on the plays he was in, he didn't look like Saquon Barkley of 2019. I'm just saying that. And no, I'm not tilting because I was right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm not tilting either. He is by far and away the best asset they have on that team, on that offense, and they're going to have to run the offense through him if they want to stay in games. I think he was a little bit limited, with his touches, obviously only seeing 13 opportunities, 10 rushes and 3 targets. So as the season goes on, I think he'll get better. But as of right now, I'm not tilting. However, I don't think I'm comfortable playing him. He's definitely not a lock for running back 1. And I think it might even be tough sledding for running back 2, because they are talking about making him a seeing limited touches again this week. So that would not be good.
Not very good at all.
Yeah. Somebody who really screwed me this week, as far as gambling goes, James Robinson. I had him over 65.5 rushing yards. He had a total of 25. So not even close.
5 yards per carry, though.
5 yards per carry, yes, but he only had 5 rushing attempts. You know who had more? Carlos Hyde, 9. What the hell is that, Urban Meyer? Just because he played for you at Ohio State? That's crazy. John, are we tilting?
We're both tilting. I can feel it coming through the screen right now. You're tilting. I'm tilting. I was hot as hell coming out of last season on James Robinson. As soon as ETN got drafted, it was a dagger to the heart. That injury pulled the dagger out, patched it up, sewed me up, gave me a little kiss on the chest. Everything was great. And then this week again, they put 2 daggers in. Not what we want to see. I was a little worried about him coming in. I mentioned it to you once. Bottom of my heart, he was someone that seemed like he wasn't really fantasy relevant until like the end of a game. If you watch the games, if you watched your scoreboards going up throughout the week while you're watching the game, you're worried about him. Like, oh crap, he busted. Oh crap, he busted. And then all of a sudden he breaks a 60-yard play, and he's looking like an amazing play. I'm worried for him, and I'm really worried for pretty much everyone on that Jags offense. LaVisca, Chark, even Marvin Jones. They didn't look anything decent until garbage time.
Yep. And honestly, I think that's where they get most of their points. As far as James Robinson goes, I am definitely tilting. I don't like the fact that Carlos Hyde had, 9 rushing attempts to his 5. That's just ridiculous. Urban Meyer, get out of the league. Go to USC. So yeah, I'm tilting. Derrick Henry, running back 29, 3.4 yards per carry, which, as we all know, is like pennies compared to what he's typically up to. He did have 17 attempts, so it's not like he didn't get the attempts, and he even had 4 targets, caught 3 of them. John, are you tilting? I know we're
far from tilting. I think he's fine. Game script was a thing, and it'll be all right. It'll be all right. What I do like to see is that he got 4 targets on 3 catches, which he only saw twice last year. So it's a great start if you want to see more points from him coming from the air.
Yeah, I'm not tilting. I am a little worried, like I said, about when I talked about Tannehill, about that offense and that team in general. But I think they should get it together, and he should be fine. That offense is going to run through Derrick Henry no matter what. So I'm not tilting. Close. I want to see how he does these next couple weeks, but not tilting as of now. Mike Evans, our first wide receiver, I know John is loving right now.
When you're right, you're right.
It's one game,
yeah.
John.
You're right. Everyone, we didn't even mention this coming into this. This is week 1. Only so much of this matters, and that's why we're talking about tilts. It's only been one game, only one set of data. It is way too early to make final decisions unless they really, really just failed the eye test. Mike Evans looked like a great receiver because he's an extremely talented receiver. But Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin were wide receivers 1 and 2 on that team, and we're going to see that every year. Red zone target, Rob Gronkowski. Mike Evans' role, be there when everyone else is screwed.
Okay, so here we go. So you're tilting.
I'm again not tilting.
It's
because
to tilt or not
here.
to tilt.
Everyone should be tilting. I am telling everyone, if you are a Mike Evans believer, tilt the table, throw it over, throw the spaghetti on your mom. It's done.
All right, John's overreacting. I'm not tilting. Listen here, folks. Okay, yes, he had a bad game, but he was shadowed by Trayvon Diggs, the Dallas Cowboys, by far their best cornerback. Okay. Also, all right, this is going to be an every game thing where we see 2 wide receivers do very well and one's going to be left out. It's going to be a weekly thing. Unfortunately, we don't know who's going to be what week. We're not going to be able to tell. John thinks it's an Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin every week. I don't think so. I think Mike Evans gets involved, and he's going to start this week, by the way.
No. So. He's going to have his weeks. He's going to have them, but you're going to play him every week waiting for it. And he's going to do what he just did. Less than 5 points.
But both wide receivers, my point is both wide receivers on that team will, Chris Godwin and AB. They're all going to do that. It's going to fluctuate throughout the year.
Consistency is going to follow AB. Chris Godwin's going to be the number 2. Mike Evans is going to be someone that loses you at least 6 to 7 weeks this year.
I would say it's going to be Chris Godwin. I think people are too hyped, but we can agree on AB at least. That's good. All right. Before we talk about this for 30 minutes, let's jump over to Julio Jones, wide receiver 77. no bueno. Another Titan.
Outside of him not finishing a game, I don't think he's ever finished that low.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I mean, that's kind of crazy to see him in that number next to him. I'm a little worried. I am not tilting, but I'm definitely worried. I am on the verge. It worries me. I mean, like I said, that offense worries me. I do think that Derrick Henry is going to be the sole man that offense runs through, and AJ Brown will definitely be usable. He had 8 targets to Julio's 6, which I think, there's already a connection there between Brown and Tannehill from last year. I'm not tilting yet on Julio, but I am starting to.
This was his worst week. His worst week since 2016, week 3 against New Orleans, where he got 1 catch on 7 targets for 16 yards.
Jeez.
I'm not tilting because I believe everyone's expectations of him coming into the season was he's not going to be an every week solid play. He's going to have big games. He's going to be someone that should be consistently all right in this offense. And until I fully tilt on Tannehill, I'm not tilting on Julio.
Right.
I'm going to keep putting him in that wide receiver 3, that flex, but I just couldn't put him as a wide receiver 2 ever.
Yeah. It's going to be, he was going off the board as a wide receiver 18 this year. So that's kind of tells you how people were thinking of him. And wide receiver 77, not even close. But Allen Robinson, 11 targets, 6 catches, 35 yards, no touchdowns. Obviously a big controversy at quarterback there. Wide receiver 67. What are you tilting or not tilting?
Not tilting. I was expecting the Bears offense to look absolutely terrible against the Rams this week. I wasn't slotting Darnell Mooney into any of my lineups, even though I love the guy to death. And that's because of the corners there. Now we've got Cincinnati coming up. Their secondary's solid, but they can be porous at times. And I think that these 2 receivers will look a lot better. I do think that we might see Hurts a little soon. I mean, Dalton looked pretty terrible, and I'd like to see Hurts. Oh, Fields. Sorry.
Yeah, it better be. I'm fine. I'm not tilting on Allen Robinson. He got the targets. Like we talked about it going into the week, tough matchup. And he is somebody who can outplay his matchup for sure. But I'm not worried about it going forward. As long as he continuously gets his targets, he'll be okay. And I do pray that Justin Fields goes in soon. Calvin Ridley, wide receiver 57. That entire offense, it must be a thing there. In that, bad. Matt Ryan, not good. Calvin Ridley, not good. But he had 8 targets though. If he gets in the end zone, he finishes at halfway a decent week. Are you tilting or not tilting on Calvin?
I'm tilting on the Falcons offense. I'm tilting on Calvin. I'm tilting on Russell Gage. I think Matt Ryan's the biggest hindrance there, and that's being the fact that I don't know if he still has it. As much as we know he can still throw the ball a bunch, but can he throw it well still? This was a bad look. And we were talking about Calvin Ridley as a wide receiver 4 coming into the season. I'm not seeing it at all. And it's sad to say, but you're still playing him because there is that big game opportunity.
Yeah.
And he's obviously drafted as your first wide receiver, and you got to play them because of that. But I'm not expecting him to finish as a top 3 wide receiver, and I'm worried for him.
I am, yes. I'm not tilting just yet, but I am worried for him. He plays Tampa Bay this week. So a tough matchup. Obviously, he plays them twice a year. But this week, after coming off that type of week 1, this is not the team you want to face. So I am not tilting yet, but definitely, with that offense and like you said, Matt Ryan, I agree with you. I'm a little worried. I'm starting to worry, and I also, don't think he finishes after seeing that performance. I mean, that should have been a game they balled out in, but
absolutely.
Justin Jefferson, wide receiver 48. I think didn't do too hot, even on his 9 targets. Well, he had 71 yards and he had 9 targets. It's nice. Didn't get in the end zone, which kind of hurt him. But are you tilting?
Big drops.
Yeah.
I'm tilting for my expectations. Again, another guy that was extremely valued and hyped up coming into the year. I'm not expecting it weekly. Everyone is expecting Thielen to take a huge step down and let Justin just roll into the season as that team's true number one. And at best, it looks like they might be a 1A, 1B situation, and this just wasn't his week. Thielen still looks strong, still look like a great receiver, and I think that they're both going to still be valuable. And I'm definitely still starting Justin Jefferson as a wide receiver 1 or 2 at this point. But I'm tempering my expectations when I'm building my roster with him in it and understanding that, hey, this isn't just a guaranteed 20 points, 15 points. This is a chance.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not tilting. I think, I like his target share. Obviously didn't get in the end zone. And I do agree with you. I think, 1 week Thielen could get in the end zone. The next week could be Justin Jefferson, and that's going to kind of dictate their outcomes. So I'm not tilting at all. But I would temper expectations maybe just slightly. But somebody who didn't have the debut we thought he would, or was expected to, Kyle Pitts. John, this is your boy.
It was Matt Ryan's fault. It was Matt Ryan's fault. We just talked about how Calvin Ridley finishes a top 50 wide receiver. It's Matt Ryan's fault. Kyle Pitts is fine.
So you're not tilting?
I'm not tilting. No.
I'm
hedging
tilting.
expectations, but I'm not tilting. Of course you are.
I'm tilting.
Were you tilting on Ridley?
Yeah, I said I was getting close.
Okay.
I'm on Kyle Pitts. I'm not really tilting. I'm kidding. Okay. It's okay. Because he's a tight end and he got his targets. He should be fine throughout the year. So I mean, as long as he gets his targets consistently, he'll finish as a top, 8 tight end. He is very athletic and it was his first game. So I'll give him a pass. Yes, he doesn't have a great matchup coming up this week. I think it's going to be rough sledding for him. But being that he is a tight end, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. So no, I'm not tilting. George Kittle, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 78 yards, solid yards. Finishes the tight end 15. So not horrific, because there were some tight ends that put up decent week this week. But not his typical performance, not a top 3, top 5 performance from Kittle. And Debo Ball.
You would be surprised though. He had a better finish this week than he did last season in week 1, where he had 5 targets, 4 catches for 44 yards. So
oh, wow.
Not off to an unreasonable start for his season. Not off to a great one though.
Yeah.
So it's time to turn it around. I'm not tilting. No.
Yeah, I'm not tilting either. And then finally, our last to tilt or not to tilt is Mark Andrews, tight end 33 on the week. That Ravens offense did not look very good. I didn't see the entire game, but what I did see was no bueno. John, are you tilting?
I'm not tilting on him, and I wasn't even very high on him coming into the season, but this is a typical week for Mark Andrews. I mean, he's someone that gets those big touchdown-dependent weeks is what we know he does, and it didn't happen for him. Still got his 5 targets and a low pass volume offense. Still got his catches. No big yards, no touchdown. It's a bust game. He has them about 8 out of 16 times a year, or this year 17. So he's someone, again, it's a tight end, so you're just chasing points the best you can. And he's always going to be someone that's reasonable to put in that position at a high end, unless you're rostering two top 10 tight ends this season. Yeah,
I'm not tilting either. Like you said, I mean, he is a tight end, so he'll be fine. He does have those up and down weeks. We know it. He's very volatile. So yeah, I'm not tilting either. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. If you could do us a favor, smash that subscribe button. Also smash the like button. We'd really appreciate it. If you're listening to us via audio podcast, subscribe and rate us. It would be much appreciated. And then join our Discord. We have a lot of cool people in there talking fantasy football 24/7.
Sir. Now also make sure if you guys want to go down below into the comments, let us know who you guys are tilting on. If you guys agree with any of our takes on these tilts, who you're not tilting on, even though we might be. And let us know how you feel about the season so far after a crazy week 1.
Yes. And let me reiterate, none of these guys are drops. You don't drop any of them.
No.
Obviously, clearly. But just want to make sure you guys know that. So
you might be able to argue that Saquon Barkley is a drop.
Oh my God.
Mike Evans might be a drop.
All right. Don't
I'm
even
kidding,
listen.
I'm kidding.
Don't. Yeah, he's definitely kidding. All righty, guys. We will see you next time. Love you.